So hello everyone and welcome to the first time Homebuyers webinar. This is the HBCU edition. As you can see, myself and Kim, we're repping our HBCUs today. And the theme is Homecoming, your journey to home ownership. So today's agenda, we'll be doing some introductions of myself and Kim, the objective of today's webinar. We'll go through, just a pulse check to see how everyone is feeling about the market. We'll talk about the 4 elements of purchasing a home, and we'll have a closing and a special gift for you all for being here today. So again, hello everyone. My name is Maya Smith and I am a Maryland Realtor with Coldwell Banker Realty. I primarily sell real estate in the Maryland Metro DC area. And today, as you can see, HBCU theme today, I am rocking Hampton University, and that's my alma mater.
And I'm Kim Miner. I'm a senior loan officer with Homeside Financial and a Howard alum.
Yes. So shout out to all the HBCU alum today, fresh off of homecoming season. So the goal of today is really to share information with you all, to give you a high-level view of the home purchasing process and lender programs to help you pay for it. So like I said, before we start, we want to warm up with a little question about how are you feeling currently about today's housing market? Are you excited just for the opportunity to potentially own a home one day as a first-time home buyer? Are you curious because you're like, I don't really know about this. Like I keep seeing housing stuff in the news, or are you scared and nervous because you have been seeing a lot in the news and you're not sure how you're going to pay for a home as a first-time home buyer? So our hope is at the end of this webinar that you will feel excited and prepared to go through the process of purchasing your first home. So there are many steps in purchasing a home, and we broke it up into 4 elements. The first being the pre-approval process and learning about lender programs. The next will be the home search. We'll talk about contingencies, and then those final steps to making it to the finish line and moving into your first home. So up next, I am going to pass it over to Kim to provide us with some mortgage lending information.
Thank you very much. So let me share my screen. So I want to thank everybody for taking the time to learn about the home buying process. I have over 2 decades in mortgage lending. And frankly, this is really one of the most challenging times that I've experienced over my past 2 decades in the industry. So with that in mind, we've created a home buyer roadmap that we present to buyers to help them, understand that the market that they're in. And because it is a challenging market, we have to really, go a step above and beyond what we would normally do in a typical market. So if you kind of bear with me here, I'm going to go through a presentation that I typically do with a buyer consultation. So there's a saying from Wayne Gretzky that you skate to where the puck is going, not where it has been. So with that in mind, what I typically ask my clients are, what do you think is going to happen when rates drop to 5%? And, naturally they'll say, there's probably, going to be more people coming into the market. And that's really very true. There's a tsunami of buyers that are on the sideline right now, just waiting for interest rates to drop. And when that happens, there's going to be, a ton more competition than what we're seeing right now. So what we've done is built, a guideline in a way so that our buyers, you can really, be prepared in this market. And so it's a 3-point plan. The first is understanding why the housing market is, so resilient and continues to appreciate. Number 2, what we do is we develop a full underwriting approval. And then number 3, we have we have to understand, the cost of waiting in this market. So with that in mind, let's dive in. So, the real estate market has a 90% win rate. So what do I mean by that? So this graphic represents home appreciation in green, and in red, it shows when homes did not appreciate, and then there's 1 year in which the market was flat. So beginning back in 1942 all the way up to 2022, we can see in green where homes have appreciated each decade. So from the 40s through the 50s, all the way to today. So over the course of 81 years, homes have appreciated 73 years. In only 7 years, they have not. So in 55, the market was flat. It didn't go up, it didn't go down. That's represented right here. And then in the early 90s, 1990, 1991, home values went down. And then in the Great Recession back in the 2007, 2008, 2009, we can see that home values went down. So overall, over the course of 81 years, the market has gone up. In fact, if you own a home for a decade, you can see how homes appreciate. Starting from the 40s, if you had owned a home in 1942 for that decade, your home would have appreciated 129%. And even down in the 2000s, when we had the Great Recession in 2007, 2008, 2009, had you owned a home in that decade, your home still would have appreciated 66%. So what does this mean? It means that two things. Owning a home year over year, you're gonna appreciate more than likely. And definitely if you own a home for 10 years, you're going to be on the winning side. So with that in mind, clients typically ask, well, how do we know that this market is different from the previous market? And so here's a few indicators. Now, in the last housing cycle, and when we talk about the last housing cycle, we're talking about 2007, 2008, 2009. And the current housing cycle, we'll say, is 2022 or 2023 to 2024. So that would be, comparing apples to apples. So in the last housing cycle, unemployment rate was 10%. Today, unemployment is 3.6. In the previous housing cycle, total jobs are 138 million. Today we have 158 million, meaning this is how many people are working in today's market. Back in 2007, there were subprime loans. Many people may not remember subprime loans, but those are the type of loans where you could actually tell the lender what your income was. So they had stated income loans. Well, after the Great Crash, the federal government instituted certain laws, and so there no longer are subprime loans. So now everyone has to be fully approved based on their income. Now, back in the old 2008, 2007, builders overbuilt. So there were 7.6 million homes then. Today, there are only 4.6 million homes available. So that's 40% less homes today than there were in the last housing cycle. In terms of inventory, there were 4 million. Today, we have a huge shortage. There's only 841,000. That's a 79% reduction. Mortgage delinquency was at 10.1%. Today, we're at 2.6%. And then foreclosures were at 4.6%. Today, we have really historic lows in terms of foreclosure at 0.3%. So, if I get my slide to move here. Now, This next slide shows active listings according to Redfin. And this is for the entire market from New York to California. And you'll see that the black line is for 2022, the orange line is 2021, and the blue line is for 2023. So we can see that there are fewer listings today as recent as October 22nd than there were in 2021 and 2023. So less inventory. And that's across the board. But we all know that real estate is local. So what's happening here in Prince George's County, for example, we can see that new listings in October were down 17%. So then if listings were down, what's happening with home values? So nationwide, using the Redfin data, home values are higher today than they were in 2022 and 2021. And this is as recent as October 22nd. Now, again, all real estate is local. So what's happening here locally in the Prince George's County area? We can see that home values were up 6.3%, and year over year, we're up 5%. So if we take and add up this 6%, 7, 8, 7, and 6, we get and divide by 5, we get an average of 6.8% in appreciation. And if we divide that by 12, we get 0.53. And if we divide that or multiply that by the average purchase price in Prince George's County, that means that each month your home should appreciate around $2,252. Now that we know, the market that we're in, let's talk about the 4 C's. How do you get approved to purchase a home? So the 4 C's are indicators that lenders use to determine whether or not somebody is eligible and how much they qualify for. So the first C is credit. And when we talk about credit, we're talking about when applying for a mortgage, lenders will review your credit history and credit score to analyze your record of paying bills. They also want to understand your overall history as a borrower and see how you manage your other debts and monthly payments. Second C is capacity. Capacity refers to a potential borrower's ability to repay a loan. A lender will look at your income, savings, employment status, and history, and any other financial obligations such as car loans, student loans, and etc., to assess your income to debt ratio, or DTI, and determine if you qualify for a mortgage. And typically, along with a lower DTI is viewed as less risk. And then we're also going to look at the home that you're buying, also known as collateral, the third C. So collateral refers to a borrower's asset that can be used as security against the loan. And then finally, capital. So in addition to your income, lenders look at how much money you have in savings and investment accounts to convert to cash. We're talking about accounts like stocks, 401ks, or IRAs. And we want to see that you have the funds that can be used for your down payment and or closing costs. So these are the 4 factors that lenders are going to use to determine your buying power. So now that we know, where the market is, where it's headed, why it isn't the same type of market as the Great Recession, let's talk about the cost of waiting. So I worked up some numbers because I have software that typically about 5% of all loan officers have that they utilize. We plug in the numbers using a purchase price of $425,000. Now, this next slide shows that if you wait 6 months, that's going to cost you $15,225. And the way that we break this down is by appreciation as well as amortization. So as you may or may not know, amortization is how much equity you build up every time you make a payment. So if you wait a year, the total cost is $25,431. And if you wait 2 years, it's $36,945. So you can see the longer you wait, the more it's going to cost you. So, we live in a high cost area, and so saving up money for down payment and closing costs can be a real challenge. So let's talk about down payment assistance programs. Now in Maryland, we have a program called Maryland Mortgage Program, and they have monies for first-time home buyers, but they also have money for repeat buyers. And they have a whole host of programs. Here are two. If you purchase a home in Montgomery County, you can qualify for as much as $25,000 that can be used towards your down payment and or closing costs. They also have a great program called Smart Buy 3.0 that will pay off your student loan debt. So these are just two examples of programs that are available through the Maryland Mortgage Program. And by the way, the Smart Buy will pay off up to $20,000 of your student loan debt. And you could also qualify for one of their other programs. Now, in addition to the Maryland Mortgage Program, there's a program by the Federal Home Loan Bank of Atlanta, and they have basically two categories of down payment assistance programs. The first category is for first-time home buyers. The first-time home buyer could qualify for as much as $12,500. And the second category is what they call community partners, and a community partner could receive up to $15,000. And by the way, veterans and also surviving spouses of veterans could qualify for $15,000. So community partners are persons who are currently employed and are retired in the following areas: law enforcement, first responders, employees of an accredited or state-recognized public or private healthcare educational institution, or an accredited or state-recognized medical healthcare facility. And then finally, as I said, veterans, active duty military, and their surviving spouses will also qualify for this $15,000. And the great thing about this program is community partners and veterans can be first-time home buyers or non-first-time home buyers. So, we've talked about the current market, we've talked about programs, we understand that the market is high, and so people are going to, typically want to refinance once rates do come down. And so this graph goes back and shows what has happened over time. So back when Paul Volcker was the Fed chairman, inflation went from 7% to 14%, and mortgage rates went from 12 to 18.6. As a result, the Feds raised the Fed funds rate from 11% to 20%, and inflation went down from 14 to 5%, and mortgage rates also went from 18.6. Yeah, we were in double-digit interest rates back then, down to 12%. So if we look at today's Fed chairman, which of course is Jerome Powell, inflation was at 1.75% and went up to 9.1%. So mortgage rates, if you recall, a few years ago were in the mid-twos. Now they're 7.5%, close to 8%. Fed funds rate went from zero, money was basically free, up to 5.5%. So as a result, we should see over time mortgage rates come down. And that is the end of my presentation.
Awesome. Thanks so much. So once you're done meeting with your mortgage lender, you're going to become pre-approved for a mortgage, which is pretty much like your golden ticket to the next step, which is the home search. So when you're going through your home search, you want to be sure to make sure that you are working with a trusted realtor. I cannot emphasize that enough, okay? Because your realtor is going to be your biggest advocate and supporter through this process. Some of the jobs of a realtor are to one, help you organize and plan your property search, to show you properties that meet your criteria, to keep you up to date with the market data. So like as new homes are coming and going in the market, your realtor should be able to provide you with that information and different trends going on in your community, the community you're looking to move into. They will, as your realtor, will be able to connect you with industry partners like lenders like Kim, inspectors, contractors. So pretty much your realtor is like a hub of everything that you need related to your real estate purchase. Your realtor should be able to negotiate in your best interest and quite frankly, just get you to the finish line. Okay. I like to pride myself on personalizing my buyer's home buying experience to really be tailored to like their budget, their goals, and their lifestyle. All right. So once you meet with your lender, you are going to become pre-approved for a mortgage. And that pre-approval is going to be your golden ticket to advance to the next step, which is the home search. Okay. So when you start your home search, first thing you want to do is make sure that you connect with a trusted realtor. Okay, I cannot emphasize this enough. You want someone that you trust and you like working with because they are going to be your biggest advocate and supporter through this process. Okay, some of the jobs of a realtor are to help you organize and plan your property search, to show you properties that meet your criteria, to keep you up to date with market data, such as new homes that come in and out of the market and different trends. Your realtor is supposed to be like the hub of everything that you need. So a connector to industry partners. So like lenders, contractors, inspectors, they should be your go-to for all things related to the purchase of your home. They should negotiate in your best interest and quite frankly, just get you to the finish line. Okay. That is pretty much summed up some of the high level things that your realtor should be doing for you. So with being a first time home buyer, I don't want to sell you on a dream, but prepare you for the real. Okay. There's a good chance that your first home may not be your forever home, and that's okay. Because what it does is it could provide you with financial opportunities that you currently don't have as a renter. Okay. Two of those opportunities can include building your home equity or building equity and just building your overall wealth, or it could provide you with an additional source of income. So first, starting with home equity. In the market, your house is valued based on other surrounding homes that have sold. Okay, so that's considered your market value. So how you get your home equity amount is you take the home market value minus how much you owe on your mortgage, and that gives you your home equity amount. So we're using like just basic math, right? And the current market value of your home is $100,000, and you currently have about $50,000 currently in your mortgage balance. You have a home equity of $50,000, and that can provide you with so much financial flexibility. And so, for an example, to help you fund any major expenses or investments, right? So you can use the money that you get, so the equity that you build in your first time home to purchase your next home. Okay. And if you decide, you know what, I'm going to keep my first home, you can turn that property into a rental property and have the income from that rental become another source of income for you. And I'll give you a personal example. I purchased my first home actually before I was a realtor, and this was back home. And when I thought to move to Maryland, I had to decide, like, do I want to keep it? Do I want to sell it? And I decided to keep it. And I now have it as a rental. So now, granted, there was some upfront costs. It was pretty costly to just kind of get it prepared to become a rental, but I was able to use my equity that I built in the house to do those updates. And now I have that property for additional income. So definitely works. All right. So while keeping in mind your first home may not be your forever home, there are still a lot of factors that you should take into consideration when buying your first home. So the first part is like your structure type, right? Do you want to live in a condo, a townhome, a single family home, a multi-family home, right? The list can go on and on. And there are pros and cons to both. Some pros can be that something like a condo or a townhome can be lower maintenance and maybe more affordable, but you may have a little less privacy, right? Because you may be sharing walls and sharing, have adjacent properties very close to you. Or you may want a single family home, which you definitely have more freedom, you have more privacy, you can do a little bit more, but there may be more upfront costs. Okay. Also, another factor you want to look into are amenities. Do you want to be around a park? Do you want a community has a gym, pools, community centers, right? Those are the type of things you may want to look into. If you have school age children, a great resource to check the quality of a school is a website called greatschools.com. There are so many others, but that's a really good one that really kind of gives you exactly what you need, and if you feel like a school may be fit for your child. Another factor that you want to look into are local attractions, right? Really think about like, what do you like to do in your free time? Personally, I'm a foodie, so I love to eat. I love to go out to eat. I love to shop and, grocery shop. I want to make sure that all those things are pretty close to me, right? So like restaurants, shopping, cultural activities, and things like that. Really think about what do you like to do and if it's somewhere you want to have quick access to. And another factor is commuting preferences. A lot of people do work remote, but if you're not working remote, are you going to take public transportation? How quickly can you get on the expressway? Those are the type of factors that you want to think about when you're kind of making your vision board of what your first home will look like. So once we find that dream home, next step is going to be writing up an offer. Okay. These are the key components that make up that offer. You have the offer price, which is probably the most critical component of the whole offer. And that's going to be the amount of money you are willing to pay for the property. Okay. And you want that price to be competitive. You want the sellers, if there's like the seller agent is coming or listing agent is coming to the seller like, hey, these are all the offers that are coming in. You want yours to stand out, and making sure that you're priced accordingly and competitively is a great way to get your offer picked. Also in the offer is going to be the earnest money deposit. So that deposit is pretty much like a good faith deposit for the seller, and it's letting them know that you're putting your mouth where your money where your mouth is, and you really want this home. Also in the offer, you're going to specify how you're planning to pay. If you're paying cash, if you got pre-approved for a mortgage, how much can you afford? So those type of details will be in the contract. Contingencies will be in the contract, and those are pretty much conditions that must be met for the sale to go through. And we'll get into that a little later. Also in the contract or in the offer, there will be a settlement or closing date. You kind of hear those used interchangeably, and that's the date of the sale. Okay, that's an exciting time. And you want to align with that date, wants to be aligned with the buyer, the seller, the financing, the title company. That's a date that everyone is pretty much marching towards the finish line too. There's also inclusions and exclusions. These are the things that are going to be included or excluded from the sale. So for an example, if you see pictures of like the laundry room and there's like new washer dryers in there, you want to make sure that in the offer or in the contract, you're specifying on both sides and it's agreed upon that, oh, those are going to stay. You would hate to assume that they are and you come in there and the seller has taken it with them. So it's very important to specify what goes and what stays in the contract. And so once the offer is written, your realtor will present it to the listing agent. And at that point, the seller can either accept, can reject, or counter. And that's where the negotiation process starts. Okay. And your realtor will just kind of work with you on strategies with that to make your offer very competitive. And hopefully you win and the seller accepts. So let's say your seller is approved by your offer is approved by the seller. Next steps are going to be contingencies, okay? A list of contingencies and conditions that have to be met. So here's a definition that reads, in real estate, a contingency refers to a clause in a purchase agreement specifying the action or requirement that must be met for the contract to become legally binding. Both the buyer and seller must agree to the terms of each contingency and sign the contract before it becomes binding. So in simpler terms, contingency is like a special rule in the home buying agreement. It's the condition that needs to be met for the deal to be official, right? So it's pretty much kind of saying like, we're making a deal, right? We're making the deal to sell and buy this home, but only if these specific things have happened first, okay? So one of the contingencies is a home inspection. This is a critical part of the home buying experience because you have a professional inspector assess the condition of the home. And I mean, they're looking at everything, the structure, electrical, plumbing, the HVAC systems, and every little nook and cranny to make sure that you have all the information that you need to make the best informed decision on if this home is best for you. Another contingency is the mortgage financing, which involves securing your loan and making sure that you have the funds to purchase this, to purchase your first home. Also working with the lender, they will do an appraisal, and pretty much appraisal will assess the property's value to make sure that it's worth what the bank or what your lender will be giving you. So you want to make sure that the home is not less, is worth less than what the lender has agreed to give you. You will also need insurance. So just like car insurance, homeowners insurance is there to help protect you and to protect your property from theft, vandalism, natural disasters, fires, and things like that. And then also, and one of the contingencies is a title search. So a title is a legal document that establishes ownership of a property. So during the home buying process, like a search will be conducted to make sure that the title is clear, meaning that the owner, there's no owners coming out the woodwork saying, oh, no, 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 that's actually my house. So when and there's actually a title insurance to protect you as a buyer that can, like, if that just so happens to happen that somebody comes out the woodwork to claim your home that you just purchased, you can pretty much show that you did your due diligence and the home does belong to you. Okay. So once the contingencies are met, the lender will give you the final okay for your funding. Congratulations, you'll be able to pay for this beautiful home that has met all your criteria, checks every contingency, and everything's good. The title is clear. This can definitely be 100% your home and no one's coming out the woodwork. And you're settled on the closing date and you're ready. You have a date and a clear go to move in next. And so here is just a high level timeline of how long it could take from an offer to be accepted all the way to the date of you getting your keys. You can see that it's very realistic to move into a home in 30 days. Now, granted, all numbers are variable. They definitely are, because it can be based on timeframes that are best for both the buyer and the seller. It can be contingent on what's maybe found in the different steps of contingencies, like if there's more needed, more work needs to be done based on something that was found in the inspection. So just want to say all of this is very variable, but this is very possible that you can move in 30 days, right? So let's say you get your offer accepted. Within up to 2 days, drop that money and put your money where your mouth is. Seller, I am ready to buy this home. That's your good faith deposit or your earnest money deposit, you showing the seller that you're very serious. You can do that 2 days, up to 2 days. You can do it really any day, but usually around 2 days to show that you're serious about wanting to purchase this home. You can do up to 10 days, 10 to 14 days. Again, all the numbers are variable, but let's just say 10 days for a home inspection. You'll have up to 14 days now on the lender side for the lender to do their evaluation and do a home appraisal to make sure, again, that the home is valued at how much they are agreeing to lend you. Also, there's loan signing that can take up to a week, and that's pretty much putting the final touches on your financing. Up to 5 days before your closing date. There's the final walkthrough to make sure that the home is in the exact condition that it needs to be for you to purchase it, right? Because things happen. You never know. Maybe you viewed the home with the seller's furniture in there, but when they were moving, let's say the bottom of the chair made a mistake and scraped the wall, right? You want to make sure there's no dents or anything that wasn't there that you weren't agreeing to and weren't prepared to be included in your purchase of a home. And then on that settlement date, you get the keys and the home is yours. So it's very realistic for you to, from your acceptance of an offer, to move into your new home in 30 days. Like everything goes fast once once that offer is accepted. So yeah, so I know this was so much information, between Kim sharing with us, like I said, again, what the market was like back in the day, where we currently are, the cost of waiting, the type of programs that you can use to purchase your first home, all the many steps that I high level went over from picking your realtor all the way to moving into your first day. But let's come back to market outlook. Currently, where we are, what is the market looking like? And if you're a buyer right now, what should you do? What is our recommendation? Okay. So high level, let's just look at this winter, right? We're in the fall and we're going into the winter season. Business naturally just slows down. You have less sellers trying to sell, you have less buyers. And I think everyone once it gets cold, everyone's like, let me just pick up this home search or this home selling process back up in the spring. For those buyers who can continue the search during the winter, they actually could make out pretty well. So if that's you right now, if you're still a buyer going into the slower season, it could work out for you, right? For one, there will be less buyers in the market. And two, sellers may be a little more open to negotiate and offer sellers concessions. Okay. In early 2024, it's projected that mortgage rates will decline. Now, they won't go back to, the lower double digit or lower digit prices like COVID and during those times, but it will continue to decline. That's what they're thinking will happen. Just going into the new year, going into the spring, spring season, you'll start to see more buyers and sellers in the market, and that will create more competition in the market. So circling back to Kim's point about the cost of waiting, right? We see the benefit of buying a house right now versus waiting until there's a possible date that we don't know, right? So as a buyer in the market, your best bet, if you're able to, is to get in before the tsunami of buyers flood into the market, right? Because of the new season and because we're projecting that rates are going down. Okay, so that's kind of like high level of what we're thinking. And we just want to thank you so much for joining us today. Like I said, today was just a high level view and just wanted to provide you with information as you prepare to get ready for your home buying journey. Again, my name is Maya Smith, and we heard Kim E. Miner from Homeside sharing some great information about the lending programs and where the market is from a lending perspective inside as right now. And then also me as a realtor sharing with you the process of what you need to do and what you will go through and some of the steps in your home buying process. So we thank you so much again for joining us today. Here you can see our QR codes to get in contact with us. So if you have any other questions following this video, definitely reach out and we look forward to it. Bye.